Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming along to attend this seminar. This seminar is actually one of, I have a lot of chapter from my PhD, but this one's only one chapter because I have time constraints, so this one's only one chapter. This one is actually chapter 3, looking for the persistence of biochars, nitrogen, phosphorus in a vegetable rice cropping sequence in a paddy field area, Timor-Leste. This presentation actually presented by myself. I'm Acacio da Costa Guterres from East Timor, because this presentation about East Timor, so I'm the one going to present in this one. And before I start with this presentation, I would like to extend my great gratitude to my supervisors, Dr. Penny Wong, thank you. And then Rob William from ACIAR, based in Timor-Leste. It's not working. Stuck.
Either going to be right or click.
Oh. Yes, why I was doing something about the rice field in Timor-Leste. If you follow the notice in East Timor news, rice is becoming an issue in East Timor at the moment. Because East Timor is entirely dependent on the rice importation from Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, China, from India. But currently India also stopped selling rice to East Timor. So we have big problem. Food security in East Timor. This one is due to the East Timor farmers they used to, is like dealing with the monoculture cultivation of rice, and this one is not entirely help. Monoculture is actually the yellow obtained from a monoculture system is very low, and then productivity in terms of the productivity as well as the profitability is also very low. This one is due to the soil is very poor. As you see in the slide there, the P availability is only 14% or either less. And then the soil organic matter is only 1.5%. And the soil is actually categorized as acid soil, and with the low pH between 5 to 3 sometimes, or to 2. And in some areas, the soil is categorized as alkaline soil with the pH more than 8. And that one is with the high content of calcium. So what this means that if the soil is like below 5% with the high aluminum and then a high calcium, this one is actually tied up with the phosphorus, and the phosphorus is not available for rice. While the rice is actually like looking for phosphorus availability in order to push the production. So that one's a big problem. And then by 1918, National University of East Timor promote rice husk biochars in order to increase vegetable and rice production in a vegetable rice production in the rice in the paddy field areas in Timor-Leste. But again, the amount of request for the application is very high, between 20 to 30 tons per hectare. It's very huge. While in East Timor, farmers is only able to produce 1.5 to 3 tons per hectare. So this one is the biomass is not enough for biochar production in Timor-Leste. And then in 2020, a research consortium, including with the National University of East Timor, the Minister of Agriculture Fisheries, and then ICOM ACIAR project funded, ACIAR funded project based in East Timor, come up with a formulation, new formulation. That one's by using low biochars, fortified with 2% of N in terms of urea, and then plus with 1% of P in form of superphosphate. This one is actually, this new design is to make low rice husk biochars and then chemical fertilizer available for food farmers in order to increase their production in a paddy field areas in Timor-Leste in a vegetable rice cropping sequence. However, up to now is still lacking information about the persistence of these biochars and nitrogen and phosphorus in paddy field areas in Timor-Leste. So this study is helping to provide information about the persistence of biochars, nitrogen, phosphorus application in a vegetable rice cropping sequence in paddy field areas in Timor-Leste. Oh, what? Yeah. So what's the aim of this study is to see the direct impact of fortified biochars to capsicum at in dry season, and to see the residual impact to subsequent rice in a wet season. And we also try to compare the fresh application of biochars, nitrogen and phosphorus to rice in wet season. In the same time also, is through this study, we also wanted to see the impact of biochars, nitrogen and phosphorus to soil nutrients, whether in vegetable products in dry season or in soil nutrients in wet season in wet season in rice cultivation areas. And then we also try to looking for some economic calculation in terms of gross margin, and then the investment return made by farm household in studies areas. So this study is actually conducted in Maliana. For those who know about Maliana, East Timor is like this one. If you see the map there, that one is East Timor or Timor-Leste, very close to Darwin. This one is Northern Territory here. Just go 1 hour to get there compared to research, probably 7 to 20 hours. And then Zuma also similar. So this one's from here to get to Timor is only 1 hour. And then we are border between East Timor and West Timor. So West Timor is here. So this study is actually conducted here. So in Maliana here. So why this study is conducted at Maliana? Because Maliana is considered as a main area for producing rice as well as vegetable at the moment. And the government tried to build a new sophisticated irrigation in order to boost production in this area. In the same time also, we try to use choosing this area because this one is very close to Indonesia and accessible to fertilizer. Because as I mentioned before, that this one is fortified biochar, so we need fertilizer because fertilizer is not manufactured in East Timor. We entirely depend on the fertilizer from Indonesia or from other countries. So that's why we're looking for this one. And this one is actually biochar production. So in this experiment, we use rice husk biochars in order to produce biochars for this study. And this is like the system using for the pyrolysis for the biochars is actually just use simply SIM method. Just use that one is like very cheaper and then affordable for local farmers to use. They produce from a rice husk. Of course, they first need to collect rice husk from nearest milling center to collect it and then bring it together to produce it, to burn it, to pyrolysis is becoming a biochar, and then later on is put water in order to stop the burning and then apply on to the experiment. This experiment is used split plot design. The main plot for this study is actually time of application. So as I mentioned before, that I have 2 application time application to vegetable production in a dry season, and then time for application for fertilizer application to rice in wet season. So this one's the main plot, and then second plot is actually type of fertilizer. This one is designed from 3-way factorial of fertilizer. So this one is the design. So come up like 8 different treatments designed from nitrogen, phosphorus, and biochars. So I have 8 different treatments here. Let us go into explain a little bit about this slide. This slide is about the layout for capsicum at the dry season in 2020. because I was doing something on sequence, vegetable to rice. So the design is also is according to the sequence as well. So let us go into explain. So these plots actually cultivated by using tractor in order to prepare. And then all plots here is actually planted with the capsicum, but again, in the yellow color, that one is not treated with the fertilizer. While in the green one, that one is treated with the fertilizer. Why? Because in this one is really prepared as a basis for the rice application, for fresh application. And then we apply for that one to see irrigation, and then for agronomy practices according to the agronomy protocol to control everything. And this one is the layout for rice experiment in wet season. As I said before, that the fresh application is actually prepared by using tractor, while the green one, that one is prepared by hand manual by using wheel. Why? Because here is already the biochar fertilizers already here, because the residue from the previous ones we apply for capsicum. So the residue is already here, fertilizer also. So we have to be careful just using manual in order to prepare the site. As you see here, this one is, the one is fresh application, use different of treatment here. And then here is actually not treated because the fertilizer is already applied to vegetable in a dry season. The soil samples was collected after harvest vegetable and rice at the dry and wet season. And soil samples was bring to laboratory of Minister of Agriculture in order to test soil pH by using this kind of method. And the soil respiration actually done in Indonesia. That one is actually at IPB Bogor, University of Pertanian Bogor, Indonesia, by using titration method. While the soil nutrients was, that one is actually tested in University of Western Australia by using millet tree extraction, as stated by Raymond and Leon et al. The results of this study is actually from control plots compared to Wortman et al. In 2009, because they already done something similar to East Timor condition. So so far we do not have any analysis about the soil nutrient and soil profit in Timor-Leste. So we just based on this finding as a benchmark for comparison. All data from capsicum and then rice is subject to ANOVA by using ZenStat software. And then all of data is, if they are tested by how they call data significant, and then follow up with the post-test text by using bumper and Turkey test for significant. However, before analyzing the data was checking for assumption by using Levani test, homogeneity and Levani test for stability of variance. Economic calculation in this study, I was using gross margin simply. So the equation is like explained by this guy. This one's the equation. So that one I was using for calculate economic for this study. The result of this study indicated that the main factors such as biochars, nitrogen, and phosphorus significantly affect to yield, number of fruit per plant, and weight of fruit per plant of capsicum. And in the same time also all interaction also significant except biochars fortified with the N. That one is not significant for yield. And then nitrogen phosphorate, nitrogen fortified with phosphorus did not detected is not significantly affected to yield and yield a number of fruit per plants of capsicum here. And let us go in to see this slide. This slide is actually explaining about the combination between or interaction between biochars, nitrogen, phosphorus for capsicum production in dry season. So this one is actually biochars is here. The bottom line here is without biochars, with the biochars. And this two line here is red line is actually with the absence of nitrogen, and then this one is the green one is with the nitrogen. While this plot here or box here, this one is without phosphorus, and then while in the right side is with the phosphorus. So this one is actually the yield of capsicum in the ton per hectare. So by using, it's actually the control on no biochars and no nitrogen and not phosphorus, the yield is between 1.5 ton per hectare. By adding phosphorus, the yield is increased. The capsicum yield is increased 2 to 2 ton per hectare. Enormously by applying nitrogen, whether or without biochars, the yield is increased to 3.2 ton per hectare. In this site is actually, this one is phosphorus alone, the yield is increased to 2.2 ton per hectare. If you add it with the nitrogen here, and then the yield is increased to 3.3 ton per hectare roughly. And this one is actually, the point here is actually phosphorus, biochars fortified with the phosphorus, and the yield is increased to 4.8 ton per hectare. The highest yield in this study is obtained in this interaction between biochars, nitrogen, and phosphorus by about 6.5 ton per hectare. So it's jumping, it's very high. Let us move to next slide. Is about rice study in wet season. The result of this study indicated that the main factors such as time application significantly affected to rice yield and a total of biomass of rice. The main factors such as biochars, nitrogen is also significantly affected to yield, harvest index, and total biomass. While the biochars fortified with the N only significantly increased to yield of rice. Biochars fortified with the nitrogen and phosphorus all significantly affected to yield, harvest index, and total biomass. While in time application, this one is time application of P significantly affect to yield, harvest index, and yield, and then a total biomass. Similarly to time application of nitrogen fortified with phosphorus. Let us see this graph. This one's the yield of rice produced in a wet season. So the control here, the yield at the control site is only 1.6 ton per hectare. By adding biochars, that one, the yield is jumped to 2.2 ton per hectare roughly. And then by applying biochars, whether or with or without biochars, the yield is increased to 3.2 ton per hectare. While here is produced the lowest if we use biochar use phosphorus with the biochars, the yield is low than 2 ton per hectare. By using biochars fortified with by using nitrogen fortified with the phosphorus, the yield is increased to 2.3 ton per hectare. While the highest yield obtained in a fresh application of biochars, nitrogen, and phosphorus is 4.5 ton per hectare. Similarly, this one is actually the effect or the residual from biochar fortified we apply to capsicum, and this one is positively increase yield of rice by 2.6 compared to control only 1.6 ton per hectare. So it's meaning that only relying on the residue, farmers can make their rice is double, double compared to control. Interestingly, in this study also, we found that if farmers only relying on their traditional practice without adding any inputs, and then the rice is take longer, 66 days, compared to something by using nitrogen combined with the biochars or phosphorus alone, or phosphorus with the biochars or phosphorus alone, and then phosphorus in combination with the biochars. But by using combination between biochars with the nitrogen and phosphorus, the duration for the flowering is actually reduced, only 55 days compared to 66 days. So this one is by using biochars. Biochars really help in order to push rice is more flowering and more maturing. So this one is very good. We are talking something on something related to the sequence in paddy field areas. So we can grow 2 crops per year plus with 1 crop of vegetables in a dry season. Soil pH, in this study indicated that soil pH from biochars significantly affect. So here is, if you see here, the soil is actually 5.6 by using biochar significantly increased to 6 after harvest rice. Yes, after harvest capsicum. But luckily in this study, we did not find any P did not significantly affect to soil pH. Soil pH. And what is that? I think I need to back. I already did example, but anyway, in this study, I also found that biochar application did not affect to soil respiration. Probably this one is due to the amount of biochar used in this study is very low, only 3 tons per hectare, compared to study conducted in elsewhere between 40 to 100 tons per hectare. So this one is probably the reason. And this one is the interaction between biochars, nitrogen, phosphorus on rice, on a soil pH and respiration from rice experiment. As you see, all here is significantly affect, except some combination or except the main phosphorus, the main fertilizer for phosphorus did not detect significantly effect on the rice respiration as well as the other combination, but the combination of time, nitrogen and phosphorus, that one significant to soil respiration. Again, in the soil respiration, we did not find any influence. Soil respiration, here in the soil respiration from rice, by using biochars, enormously increased from, this one is from fresh application, that one is the red line. By using biochars, it increased soil pH from 6.3 increased to 6.6. So this one is mean that by using biochars can help in terms of the cation exchange capacity to make nitrogen, to make nutrients available for rice. Similarly, this one is residual impact for the green one, also similarly increased. By using biochar, it increased from 6.2 to 6.5. So this one is also very good. So biochar is helpful in order to make nutrients available to plants. And this one is, this study, the result of this studies indicated that the application of biochars, nitrogen, and phosphorus is affected to soil nutrients Oh, this one is for soil nutrients for capsicum in the dry season. So this one, the biochar application is actually affected to potassium. Even potassium in East Timor is not a big problem because we have a potassium about 160 to 100 milligram per kilogram. If we compare to Wortmann critical level 100%, so we do not have a problem with the potassium. But again, by using biochar, it increases the level of potassium in the soil. And then by using biochar also increase the level of zinc. The potential level of zinc in the soil is 3.4, but in this one also Timor-Leste context also is, we do not have a problem with zinc. And these ones, the application of phosphorus also increase the how they call it, the soil nutrients of phosphorus. This one is obviously clear, yes. If you use phosphorus, and then it's automatically this one is also increase. But by using a biochar fortified with the N, and that one is also increase. How do you call it? Decrease sulfur, because the sulfur in East Timor is actually it's very high, it's toxic. So it's by using biochar, it helps to bring down the level of sulfur in the soil. Biochar fortified with nitrogen and phosphorus also really help to bring down sulfur. Yes, so this one is the figure we obtained from the application of biochar fortified with nitrogen and phosphorus. As I said before in the table, that always is bringing down the level of sulfur to level up. It's like normal for the absorption for the plants. And then by using biochar, it also increase the level of zinc in the soil. And then potassium is also increased in the soil. Again, potassium is increased by 120 to 115 in this study, compared to Wortmann critical level 100. So this one is another finding I found here, that by using fortified biochars, nitrogen and phosphorus increase the soil nutrients at the rice experiment. So as you see that here, by using biochars can increase the level of iron. The level of iron in Timor-Leste is very low. So that's why the rice production is also very low. But by using biochars, it increased the level. Magnesium is very high in Timor-Leste. So by using biochars, it's bringing down the level of magnesium in within the soil in Timor-Leste. Zinc similarly, similar to the soil in biochars fortified for capsicum at the dry season. And this one has also increased the level of zinc in the soil. While residual biochars affect to sulfur in the soil, as well as the residual biochars fortified with phosphorus also affected to zinc content in the soil. This one is the result here. By using biochars, it increased the level of iron from 180 to 100. What was that? 180. I didn't see. 120. 180 to 230. So this one is good. And then by using biochars also decrease the level of magnesium, and then increase the level of sulfur in the fresh application. But by contrast, at residuals is actually increased. And then by using biochars, it can also increase the level of zinc in the, it is maintaining the level of zinc in the fresh, and then reduce the level of zinc in the fresh application. Magnesium is also very high, so by using biochars N can reduce it. Yeah, so this one is not biochar, this one is N, can reduce the level of magnesium in the soil. This one is the last one, gross margin economy analysis. This analysis tells to us that by using fortified biochars, or biochars combination fortified with phosphorus and nitrogen, increase the profitability of farmers in terms of gross margin by $13,345 American dollar per hectare, or increase the profitability of farmers in terms of gross margin, including the labor, by 11,700 something American dollar. So by using biochars fortified with nitrogen and phosphorus, is also reduce the cost for production. Reduce the cost of production for vegetables. And as I show here, this one is return on labor per day. It's very good here compared to $45 per day. Compared to government, if government recruits someone, only $3 per day. But this one is provide $40 per day. So it's like director. It's like people is working for the government with a high position. It's very good, make money. This one is the gross margin for residual. So this money make here is depend on here. Once we apply biochars fortified with the nitrogen and phosphorus, we make big money, about 545 American dollar with the gross margin including labor, or by gross margin 1,134 American dollar per hectare. So this one is big money. If compared to return labor per day, it's $9 per person per day, compared to $3 paid by government. So it's big money as well. And then you go back to the cost of production only 0.3 American dollar, cents American dollar for each kilogram of the production. So very good. So it means that we do not spend big money, but we just rely on something we already apply in the for capsicum production in a dry season, and then we get something very high return in wet season. So it's very good. But again, by contrast, biochars application fortified with the phosphorus and nitrogen bring a negative impact to the return. Why? Because the cost of production for biochars is very high, while the rice we sell in farm gate is only 45 cents per cent. So that's why it's not a cover the cost production of producing biochar. So it is, but again, you see here, the gross margin here is 1,400, or gross margin from gross margin, including with the labor, that one is 700 something per hectare. It's very good. But this one is by adding fresh application of N. So what's mean this one? From this data, we can see that if farmers have ability to use biochars fortified with nitrogen and phosphorus for capsicum production in a dry season, they can make money about 1,100 per hectare in the subsequent rice production, or they have ability to add nitrogen and they can make money 1,400 gross margin, or gross margin including with labor is 700. So depend if they have ability to add nitrogen and add nitrogen. If not, just relying on the residue, they make big money. Recommendation. Although the application of biochars fortified with the nitrogen and phosphorus increase capsicum yield by 218% above, and then increase rice in subsequent rice in a wet season by 200%. But again, this one is only affordable for 0.1 ton per hectare, or 10th of 1 hectare. So this one is due to the biochar is not available for whole 1 hectare. So what I would like to recommend for the government or scientists in the future, try to find out different source of biochars from rice, from coconut husk, from coffee husk, probably biomass from something we call that alien species. For instance, like Chromalina odorata, Jatropha, Gossipipolo, or Belaic bush, for instance, Camara lantana, for instance. That one is as a good source for the biochars. Hopefully, if we produce that one and then we increase the amount of biochars, and then we can apply for the entirely 1 hectare in the land. If we apply that one as a direct sequestration for the soil, and probably that one is good as a new commodity for Timor-Leste farmers in the future. I think that's it, my presentation today. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Acacio. Unfortunately, we have to hand this room over to a meeting that's happening right now. But we can take some questions outside at Fancy and the reception, and anybody online, we can put in touch with you for additional questions. Sure. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's nice to know what you've been doing.
Yes. The data I just finished.